Howdy, y'all. Welcome back to the collective. I like the fact that without any sort of understanding or pre-chatting, we're both wearing Corporal for Life.
Oh, dude, that is yet another Gunny Highway moment.
It is. It's not
Hey,
quite the same, but
I
almost.
kind of feel it is to some
Yeah.
degree.
Okay. I'll
I
give it to you.
think.
I'll
I think.
it
I
just
mean,
works out
it's
synergistic.
generally within theme.
It is generally within theme. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's from the same maker at least, and that's pretty good.
At least there's
So
that. At least,
there is that at least.
and then thematically, we're both working on something north something.
True.
So I suppose
True.
there's that.
There's Sach. Good morning, Sach. Good to see you.
We both know Sach, so now we've got 3 in a row. We have
Synergy.
commonality.
The straight synergy going on right here. I like it. So I had before I get
Sorry,
into anything,
shout out to Corporal for Life, by the way.
absolutely, Corporal
I
for
mean,
Life.
you kind of did, but now I'm going in full solid to kind of outperform your
Taking the
weak call
shirts.
out.
It was a weak call out. I
It was.
by all means.
Now, this is your opportunity to one-upmanship me.
So Corporal for Life, Nick
There
Strausser.
we go.
Can't
Well
remember
done.
how to pronounce his last name, but Nick, we're watching. We're calling you out. Wicked shirts. If you guys want one, go to his website and get yourself an awesome shirt. If you are perhaps a Northern Warrior, perhaps you're a true North Tough, perhaps you are one of the many. I'll dive
Proud
into an
Canadians.
advertisement. Proud
That's
Canadians.
what you were going to say. Proud Canadians. Patriotic, I believe,
Patriotic
is one of
Canadians.
his buzzwords.
It is. I like it. Well, if you like your if you like these two shirts at least, go check out the website and
Maybe even subscribe to his T-shirts.
maybe. But then again, you can do you. So
Oh, this was your opportunity, buddy.
I know it was, but I wanted to give you one. I can't come in and just take over the entire show. I got to give you one.
Maybe you could
every once in a while.
subscribe to his T-shirts, and then you.
And then I hit the button that
There you
says,
go.
"Hey, if you're doing that anyway, you should like and subscribe to our channel as well as hit the notification bell and all that stuff." Yes, 100%.
Good job picking that
I
up.
appreciate it. I'm a little slow today.
Are you still a little BJJ? Because you just came back, or did you not go?
No, I did. I just came
Okay,
back
good.
from BJJ. And it's actually kind of interesting. Both myself and Rob, my training partner, because we did a weekend of symposiums, our minds are like,
Oh, they're a little frazzled.
so much learned, so many things to partake.
You're just not used to learning a lot.
Not at that kind of speed. And I think also the level, because previous symposiums have been like white belts and color belts kind of together. And now that we have so many white belts and color belts, the color belts got separated. And so the level of instruction went
good,
which is awesome. But
yeah.
it's been processing consistently for the last couple of days. So,
well, that you're just not used to it, of course.
Yeah.
But the other aspect is hydration, nutrition, sleep. That's where things start falling apart.
Mm-hmm.
A, you're just not used to absorbing that much dense bandwidth. B, are you setting yourself up for success by nailing those 3 other things?
Yeah, nutrition's been really good so far. I've been tracking as well as not so much changing, but tweaking. So I'm snacking less, which is, I think, a big part of the protein jump. I feel snacky less often.
Right.
And
but I've also, because that's actually called your body is, eating things that it's supposed to, and then it's happy.
It's happy. But I do find that when I do get snacky, I don't fall into that trap. I don't just go, oh, what's in the cupboard? And I go grab something. I'm like, I'll wait. Or I'll go
if you do feel a bit snacky, then go straight to the cupboard and eat more protein.
That's what I was going to say. I have these protein bars, and they've been
perfect. Yeah, but what are the protein bars? Because they could have 9.78 out of 10 people will fall for marketing called the wrapper says protein. Let's get 12 of them, dear. So what kind of protein bar is it? Do you know?
It's a Kirkland brand from Costco, so it's probably not great.
Not great.
Yeah, that's what we had in the cupboard, but I'm working it. It's
yeah. Don't even give them to your kids either.
Raj,
don't go buy the good ones for you and then give the bad ones to your kids.
I don't plan to. I've been, I don't know about hesitant to give them protein, but I
Oh,
think
you should
I
do
think
the
previous
protein
because I didn't know how much they needed. I was kind of like hesitant as to how much I should give them, but
same-ish.
same-ish game.
Use the same kind of math, minus, go with lean body mass.
Yeah.
And give them protein. Do you
Solid.
know why they could be running around like lunatics? If they are, if in
Sometimes they
fact
do.
they are,
Sometimes for sure.
if only once per year.
Once per every couple hours.
Correct.
Yeah.
So increase their protein, decrease their sugar, their carbs.
Right. Okay, I can do that for sure. That'll be pretty good. Daniel, good to see you. What's going
Hey,
on?
buddy.
Sach says my 6-year-old daughter has protein each meal. Oh, there you go. Makes
Yeah,
sense.
and you know why that is? It's because Sach has a good background in nutrition.
Yeah.
I mean, I wanted to drag him into the conversation there the other day, onto when we were talking about nutrition. We could have had him on the panel. I never know how deep we're going to go into something or whatever, but Sach would have been a great guy to have in respect to nutrition specifically.
We can bring him in right now.
But I mean, are we going to go deep into nutrition? I don't
Why
know.
not? We could.
Well, I don't know.
Absolutely.
Do you have anything that you want to cover right now, or
I have my list of stuff, but I think if we
Dude,
could go into depth into nutrition, I think that'd be helpful for everybody.
100%.
Sach, if you're up
Shoot
for
him
it,
a link if he's
shoot me a
into it.
message and we will we'll get you in here toot sweet. Now, again, my just general lack of understanding of nutrition, it held me back quite a bit on what I should and shouldn't give my kids. I try to keep it as healthy as possible. I don't give them a lot of sugar or candy.
Yeah, but I mean, you don't know what to give them. You don't
No,
even know what to
exactly.
give yourself.
That's exactly it. So that's where I've it's been iffy. And you know what the thing is, because I didn't know, I was hesitant to even engage.
Yeah, that's no excuse at all, though.
I'm not used.
Come up with any other excuse except that one. That's
sucked.
like, I know there's a problem, but it just seems like it's a problem, so I'm not going to deal with the problem.
Yes. Yeah. I'm saying that I sucked in general in terms of that
on this subject for sure.
That subject for sure.
Now it's a whole different thing if you just suck.
Yeah, if I'm making other people suck, that's a whole nother
when you're
thing.
making your family suck.
Yeah.
That's a whole different thing.
Yeah. As I said, I think the other day, I told my wife, or when my wife called me out on some of the hypocrisies that I've made over the years, and I was like, yep, I was an asshat. And
yeah, that's really all you can do. I mean, you just got to nod your head and take it right on the chin.
Yep. Sach.
Hey, buddy.
Good to see you, man.
Good to see you.
How you doing?
Glad
I keep forgetting. Thanks, man. I just keep forgetting to do the horizontal on this, so stand by.
That's all right. Do your thing.
Okay, I'm gonna pull you around. Oh. Okay, we figured it out.
He's got it. We
got it.
He's a pro. Dude's done more podcasts than you have. I bet he has.
I don't know.
I've been on a few.
He's been on a few.
He's been on more podcasts than I have, 100%.
That's right. Yeah.
So here's the question of nutrition then, I guess, really is, how does it change as you grow? Does it change? Does your nutritional needs change as you get older? Or is it like, is there a period when you're a teenager that you need a different nutritional makeup? Or is it like, how does that shift and flow?
I just want to hop in super quick, really, really quick to set the stage before we start asking specific questions.
Let's do it.
Let's establish that most people don't know much about nutrition. So by asking very specific questions or these leading sort of questions, then we're going to go off the rails and never really cover a good core pillar of nutrition. So how about instead of, leading questions, I'm just going to set the stage with this.
Let's do it.
Julia Shelley takes on more protein than most guys I know. And I only know that because I saw her post the other day where she stated that she's going to get back into competing. I think she said she was like 12 or 16 weeks out or something from Worlds bodybuilding. Mm-hmm. And she listed out the things that she's going to do and et cetera. But in that, she broke down her macros. Protein, carbs, fats. And I believe her protein was, she said 161. She didn't put GM, but I'm assuming 161 grams. It's an interesting number. Why not 160? But maybe she was just doing very precise math based on percentages, and it kicked out a 161 gram of protein. But again, she's consuming almost as much protein as you are, Chance Burles.
More.
And I think she stated in that post just the other day that she's weighing in right now around 135 or something like that. But, you know, that's 135, quite lean. So, you know, she's taking in protein that is appropriate for the phase of her life as a female and what her intentions are moving forward, which is arguably she's going to start bulking up and putting on a lot of protein. And so there's a number of things that are going on in that simple kind of set the stage, because it's not just about age. It's not just about males versus females. It's not just about what your background is or what you know or don't know. It's also about what you have upcoming. And her workload is way bigger than your workload in the sense of repair required for the amount of busting her body down that she's going to be doing in order to build it up. And so there's a lot of things that can be considered. And so whatever we talk about moving forward, understand that if there's any broad statements being made, there's a lot of nuance, that is applicable specifically to each person who's in a unique path or a unique life or a unique need that is way different than the three of us. So anything that we speak about moving forward has nuance to it that we're not explaining particularly. I hope that makes sense.
That's a great way to set the stage for sure. And I think that's a good way to start it. So let's talk generalities then. In terms of nutrition, what should the average person be getting? Let's set a baseline. Like what should we be seeing in terms of macros? What the average person should be.
But again, that's
intaking.
kind of hard. That's kind of hard to answer, right? Depending on what the person and individual is doing on a day-to-day basis and what the goal is. So it's kind of hard to answer that in generalities because each individual is different, right? So let's take you as an example, right?
Yes.
What's your output? What are you trying to do? What's your goal? What are you trying to achieve? Are you trying to get leaner? Are you trying to get better at jiu-jitsu? What are we talking?
So right now, my goal is to put on some strength and mass. That's going to be the big one. I'm good, and that's basically it. I'm trying to put on some upper body weight and strength.
Okay,
that's where I'm going.
So, what are we doing to start that process? Even outside of food.
Outside of food, right now, I'm picking up a squat rack today. As soon as we're done here, I'm going to pick that up, get it all set up, and then he's my buddy Rob, who's given it to me, he's set me up on a 5x5 system that he's been using for many years for strength training, and that's what I'm going with right now.
Strength training for what?
Just general strength training. No specific, nothing specific that I know of. You're muted, Shaun.
To develop some muscle. The muscle you don't have right now. You want to put some muscle on.
Yes.
Okay.
That would be it. Yeah. So what do you think? So right now my output, like in general, I can tell you what my general output is versus input. I will pull up my tracking. And I am averaging out, as of last week, 2,389 calories in, 3,261 calories out.
How are you tracking that?
I have it on my Fitbit.
Okay. And so what's your base metabolic rate? What are you burning if you're just alive, just sleeping?
I don't even know. I'd have to. How do I find that out?
Dude, I told you to look that up.
Did you?
I did.
I forgot.
I called it the basal metabolic rate. I said just as you lay there blinking.
Right.
Actually, don't even open your eyes. Just lay there and snore in bed.
Okay. I suspect if I were to guess for you, probably like 13, 14, 1500-ish in and around there.
I guessed around 17 because he's a tall streak of cabbage at 220 pounds, 6'5".
So let's use Shaun's base at 1700. Okay, so now your base metabolic rate is 1700. Not super accurate, but let's use that. Fitbit right off the bat is garbage. I wouldn't even use it.
Oh, okay.
It's not even accurate, man. It's going to throw you off totally. That you're not burning 3,000 calories. I'll tell you right now.
Yeah, it seems high, but
you're not.
Okay. So what's a good thing? Well, let's start even then at the beginning then. What would be a great thing for a noob to step into in order to track what they're eating, what their metabolic rates are?
Okay.
Look it up. I mean, that's what you should have done already. You're talking like you're not a noob. You're double noob right now because you were given the direction and you didn't follow the noob direction. You're like worse than a noob. You're the noob that got good advice and didn't execute on it. Now you're talking about it like you're not a noob. You're worse than a noob.
I am a
noob. Good advice.
I'm 100% a noob. This is why I'm asking these questions. Is that I had assumed that my Fitbit would be at least sufficient as a entrance level thing, but
as a watch, it's good as a watch.
Okay. Yeah. So, what do you guys think? You got an Oura Ring, right?
I do, but that tracks my sleep. It's pathetic as an activity tracker.
Okay.
But you know what the gold standard is for tracking how much workload you're putting out? It's called a wattage device.
Okay.
Something that I coached with for 15 years. It is the gold standard. There is no better measurement of workload output than getting into a metabolic cart rigged up with all the wires in a hospital. That's the only way that you can outperform the performance capture of a wattage device. Now, a wattage device ain't going to work for you because you've got nothing to strap it to called a bicycle. And if you got it in your head that you wanted to strap it to your bicycle, then you'd be spending about $1,000. And then you'd have to educate yourself on how to use the new tool that you just bought. So that ain't going to happen. So I'm going to give you some generalities that you can use, generally speaking, against a general workload output over a general hour. You, at your inefficient movement pattern, your height, and your weight, might put out maybe 600 calories per hour, but probably no more than 800 calories per hour, depending on what you're doing. Now, let's say you go all full tilt, like 60 minutes. You want to know if you can work the hardest you've ever worked in your life without vomiting. And so at the end of an hour, maybe you put out 900 calories.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay. So we've set the line in the fact that I know nothing, and I'm totally good with that. I'm not trying to say that I
set
don't
the
know
line that you don't know anything, and then you didn't follow up.
And I didn't follow up on any of the information.
Right.
Thank you, guys.
And here's the reality, bro. You have access to like a great deal of knowledge, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can actually execute against a lot of stuff in a short period of time. You can actually develop quite a bit in your jiu-jitsu. So let's say, for example, you want to gain some strength, and let's say your metabolic rate is 1,700. I would start small, man, like maybe 2,000 calories a day, 2,100, see how that feels. And then kind of go from there and recalibrate every couple of weeks to see how your body's processing the food that you're taking in.
Mm. Okay.
And
I
would suggest that, so you're adding maybe 600 calories to his basal metabolic rate as the example.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's too little because he's been working in, here's the background that I'm sure you would have given a different answer if you would have understood the nuances of Chance Burles. He's been starving himself for about a decade. Serious, like he hasn't, I mean, he didn't even know the math to do the math to understand how little he's been eating for the last 10 years. So not enough protein, but just not enough calories. And then the calories that he's been taking on are crap. Mm-hmm. And so his body is so undernutriented right now that no wonder he's struggling. No wonder you're struggling after I wouldn't call it a hard weekend. I'd call it an average weekend for most people. Yeah. But you're struggling because you got to change your nutrition. And it can't just be what Sach is recommending, because he's thinking like a performance nutrition coach with someone who's already established in the game. But you're not even at the start line yet because you've still got a lot of catch up to get your body repaired, like actually working at a baseline level before you think of crossing the start line into performance nutrition. So once you get your body to a baseline level, then you can start considering, let's say your basal metabolic rate is 1700 cals, and let's say your workload output in a sense of working out is 600 cals. Now you're at 2300 cals. You walk back and forth to your car, you mow your lawn, you go to do this, you go to do that. They all take another 500 cals. Eventually you're up around 3000 cals for the day. Maybe. But you can fine-tune, tweak those cals once your body is actually healthy again. But I don't think your body's that healthy right now.
Yeah. And I think like, yeah, it makes a lot of sense, man. Like, I mean, how long are you training jiu-jitsu for in a week? Like how many hours?
Be 5 hours within a week. So it's 2 classes a week that are so 4 classes that are back to back. So I have fundamentals, and then I do an advanced class on Tuesdays. Thursdays, same thing, and then Sunday I actually teach. So I'm not really training super hard.
How many hours of sparring and rolling are you doing?
I'd say over a week, maybe 2.
Okay, so you're probably burning in those 2 hours, not much, man.
Yeah, not a whole lot.
2 hours of rolling is probably like, I don't know, 1,000 calories tops. Like it's not a ton.
Yeah,
depending
maybe.
on how. Yeah, like it's not a ton at all.
And probably not even that high, given that they're probably clowning a little bit and taking breaks and whatnot. I mean, it's not a competition. They're not training for comp. They're not fighting throughout the entire hour. So, you know,
so you're probably just hanging out, really. So not really much at all. So I wouldn't even count the jiu-jitsu as exercise.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're moving a little bit.
But he doesn't have any other exercise.
I do.
Well, what?
Well, I do kettlebells in the morning as
for how long?
Exercise. About 35, 40 minutes.
What do you
How
do?
rigorous?
Pretty vigorous. I mean, I could pull it up from one of my workouts, but again, it's off the Fitbit, so I'm not not going to be accurate. But the
So are you doing that every day then? I just thought you were doing jiu-jitsu.
No, so I do that in the mornings when I don't have jiu-jitsu. So I do like kettlebell, and then I do jiu-jitsu, and then I do
so you do 4 days of kettlebell and 3 days of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Okay. And you don't have a day off?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I just so that's just the general like output days. But I do, I ride my bike and I take kids out and I do stuff. Right? But that's
don't
just
get all crazy. Let's just stick to the essentials. You own a bike. You don't ride a bike yet.
I pitter around on my bike.
Bro.
Let's just say that. I pitter around. I don't ride my
I just
bike.
put oil on my chain. That isn't riding a bike.
No, but I move around quite a bit. So like the amount of times that I'm actually static are probably limited to maybe 2 hours in a day where I'm actually like static.
Well, what do you mean by that? Like by moving around? What does that mean?
So I'm playing with my kids, or I'm doing laundry, or like I'm moving about the house doing stuff. Not really doing anything physically, but I'm just moving.
You move several inches to the left, several inches to the right, but you're not doing anything other than kettlebell and occasional BJJ.
No. And the jiu-jitsu, yeah, that's it.
So what does your nutrition look like? Let's say yesterday, what did you eat the entire day?
So yesterday,
including beverages and liquids and snacks. What did you have?
So in total, I drank 3,200 mils of water total. 2 liters of that had the electrolytes, the BioSteel electrolytes scoop in there. For liquids in general, I had 2 cans of those bubbly, sparkly waters. And as for food, let's see here. I had 200 grams of Greek yogurt in the morning with 80 grams worth of granola.
What kind of Greek yogurt?
Oikos.
Fat-free, flavored. Like what was it?
It was vanilla flavored. Yes, vanilla flavored Greek yogurt
How much fat?
Which means cane sugar flavored.
I'd have to put it. Let me look it up because I got it here.
I'll be asking like a bunch of these types of questions.
No, it's all good. I'm gonna get I'll pull it up here so that I can actually I'll keep it open so I can actually look it up.
As you should.
As I should, exactly. So it's not opening up more than that. Oh, nutrition facts. There we go.
That's cool.
So total fat: 4 grams of fat, 3 grams saturated fat, 20 milligrams of cholesterol, 68 milligrams sodium,
Okay.
and
Stick to the
19 grams of
macros.
protein.
So then you have your yogurt. What else?
With some like granola in there.
What kind of granola?
It is Harvest Crunch granola cereal.
How much?
And I'm taking 80 grams. Fat was 14 grams, carbs 55 grams, protein 9 grams.
Okay. What else?
So that was breakfast, and then
So before you move on, so you've got you added cane sugar to your body right away.
Yeah.
And the granola is the example. You took on more sugars in your breakfast than you need for the entire day.
oh wow,
I mean, you
Yeah.
did say 56 grams, right? You're already
Of
out of
sugar?
keto for sure.
The yogurt. Let me pull that back up.
I heard you. I heard what you said. You're a plus
Okay.
of 50 just on the
And
granola. Just on the granola.
Flavored yogurt's going to have the sugar, and your granola is going to have the sugar. It's going to probably
Okay.
knock you out anyways, right? I mean, it's just the way it is.
Okay.
Mhm.
So for lunch, I had 2 fried egg sandwiches that I made at home with
How'd you
bagels.
fry it?
With just on the on the stove.
What
kind of
did
oil
you
did you
fry
use?
it in?
Oh, butter.
What did you use? Okay. What kind of butter?
Just regular butter.
How much?
I would say half a
Did you
teaspoon.
measure it? Did you
I
measure
did
it?
not. I did not measure it. No,
Okay. All right.
but I would say
Cool.
half a teaspoon.
How do you know?
I use about this. Well, the spoon I use, it's a. I've used to measure other things, but it's about half a teaspoon. I'm pretty sure.
So you're not sure.
You're right. I'm not sure. I'm going
But
off.
you'll need to be.
The only reason I'm
I will
saying,
be.
bro, the
Yeah,
only reason
I
I'm
get
saying
it.
is I've been measuring stuff for 10 years, every single meal, and I can't do it precisely.
Raj.
So I don't know.
Okay.
That's why you bought a coffee scale.
Yeah.
To weigh your beans, not guess at your beans.
That's right. So
Mhm.
okay, well then, so I don't know. I'm assuming around a half teaspoon of butter in the thing. I threw the eggs in. I don't add anything to them. I just
What
fry
kind of
them.
eggs do you use?
Regular white eggs from the store. I don't have any.
Grass-fed, organic, like what are you doing?
Costco.
As you can
I
see,
get it.
as you can see, every single thing
Everything
you
matters.
gotta
Yeah.
question, you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's
Cool.
not just a, so let's pause here for a moment. The line of questioning has been correct, and it should be illustrating a couple of things to you, buddy. One,
Mhm.
you haven't really been paying attention to what you've been eating, but more correctly, you haven't been paying attention to the options that are available to you. Just take eggs as an example. You know, eggs just by themselves, there's so many things that you should know about eggs. But the best you can come up with is, I don't know, they came in a box. You know, what kind of meat are you eating? I don't know. The stuff that comes in the plastic wrap. Where did it come from? The plastic wrap farm. No, it didn't.
So, and the reason why, so I talk to a lot of people. I mean, not as much lately, but in the past, like a lot of people I talk to would say, "Oh yeah, I eat pretty good." And then you ask 3 questions, and 90%, more than 90% of people are eating. They don't know what they're eating. They don't
Yeah.
even try to find out. Oh, I got butter. I got this. I got that. It sounds healthy. Oh, I got some avocados. Oh yeah, how much avocado did you eat? The whole avocado. Okay, great. That's not ideal. You know what I mean?
I said
It's
the exact
only
same thing. I did.
ideal if you intentionally understand why you're eating a whole avocado.
Yeah.
But
But I
that
mean,
is the
most people-
problem. Not enough people think
Yeah.
about nutrition, and then not enough people think about what they're eating once they've thought about nutrition. It's really 2 phases. You've got to learn, and then you've got to apply. And I don't know, some people just move through the day without, I don't know. I don't know how they make it through the day sometimes. I'm not
I have
sure.
no clue. I don't get it. Like, so for example, I have just to put me as an example, I have about 2.5 hours of PT to do today and split it up. But, you know, I'm thinking yesterday what I need to consume to make sure that today is going to work.
100%.
So like how much water, how much electrolyte, what food am I eating? How am I going to do it? Because, you know, I have my first run in the morning and I got to make sure that I'm good to go at 7:30. So I may not be able to get enough nutrients or food in me before I do that. So I want to make sure I get enough in the evening before so that I can manage, you know, 70 minutes of running. So like, for example, if you're going to jiu-jitsu, you know, you got, depending on what your output's going to be for that next day, you want to think about, okay, what am I going to do for that day? What do I need to prepare myself to be ready for that day? And then just kind of fuel your body.
Yeah. And so this morning, because we're a little late to start off this one, I did a ride in between my two potties. So I only ripped off a quick hour. But last night, and as I do every night, I'm eating to set myself up for today. And so I woke up this morning and I just drank water. That's it. That's all. From the time I woke up, I didn't eat a thing. I went through my first podcast on a coffee, had another glass of water, headed out the door and ripped off a hammer session for an hour. Came back here, and I don't need to eat right away right after that, because I've set my body up yesterday to allow myself to be able to intermittent fast and allow myself to perform. Because yesterday, or more correctly in the evening, I set up my glycogen, my liver, and my blood plasma sugar fuel sources.
Yeah, I saw that.
And that's right, buddy. And I set up my protein, as I do every single day. I set myself up for the next day. So today, as an example, I'll go out and do whatever. I might hit the BJJ mats. I might go for a second ride. Doesn't matter. What I will do is then eat to offset that workload. And then later today, I'll eat to offset the workload of tomorrow.
Yeah. Same thing for your pods, right? Chance, like, you prepared probably in advance before you do anything, right?
For most of them, yeah.
Sometimes.
Sometimes I just like roll with it, but yeah.
Same idea, really, right?
Okay. So I think this is the big issue, is that it's not so much that people are, I speak for myself, right? It's not that I never thought that I ate healthy. Let me put it that way. Like, I knew that I wasn't eating exactly what I needed to eat.
Well, everyone knows that.
And I did say, I even said it to Shaun at one point, I was like, yeah, I eat pretty well.
But what does that even mean? Like,
and this is the thing, is it's based off of the fact that I'm going off the fact that I am relatively healthy.
But what does that mean?
But you're not. In fact, I remember Sach saying, just, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 podcasts ago or whatever, he used the term. It's the term that I think of when I think of you, and it's skinny fat.
Yeah.
You're skinny fat. You're not healthy. I mean, you can do some things, but you're not an athlete.
True.
You're not healthy. You're a guy who's getting by, but only because you haven't tried to get healthy.
Exactly.
In order to try to get healthy, you've actually got to start trying. And that trying usually requires a little bit of research and a little bit of effort. So when Sach said you're skinny fat, I was like, dude, you beat me to it.
Yeah. Well, no, and so what I mean when I say,
I'll be right back, guys. I got to check something real quick.
Okay. All right.
When I say, like, I'm mostly healthy, which I recognize now that I'm not, like, I'm not saying that I still think that way, but prior to having been told or being challenged on my nutrition, I looked at it as, I'm pretty healthy. I can move around.
But I'm still challenging that you're not.
I understand. I'm agreeing with you.
Okay.
I'm agreeing with you. I am. I'm saying prior
so you weren't
to that,
and you still aren't. I
still am not. Absolutely.
Yes.
The thought process was the fact that I'm not getting injured, right? Or I'm not ridiculously obese or have trouble doing basic things. And I know I am.
Okay. Well, we don't have to rehash what you thought in the past.
what I'm going off is, you both said that, I just don't understand it. So I was trying to lay it out so that it's understandable, because having no knowledge whatsoever of what you guys are talking about, of the general nutrition or understanding of how to track these things, it's really based around the fact that, I feel like I'm healthy. I'm going to put it in air quotes, and I'm not. I know I'm not.
Did you really believe that you were?
I did.
Every time that you ate crap food, you thought you were eating healthy food?
No.
And every time you laid down on the couch as a lazy fat person, you thought that you were an athlete?
No.
Right.
I'm not.
So
I'm not
let's call it what it is.
100%.
You either thought you were, you thought you weren't.
I'm saying that I believe that I was generally healthy. And by generally
healthy... Let me
healthy,
ask the question again.
Okay.
So that we're super clear.
Okay.
5 years ago, did you think that you were healthy and an athlete?
I thought that I was healthy, but I did not consider myself an athlete. No.
Okay.
And the thing, I had those things separate for a reason, right, in my head, and it's the reason is that it was an excuse, obviously, because I didn't want to be called an athlete because then I would be called out on all of the stuff that I was doing. But that's all I was trying to get across was the mindset for I think a lot of people out there. We don't have the information to even begin to know that we're not healthy, and because we're not sick or having any outward direct issues, I think there's a lot of people out there that are just like, yeah, no, I'm pretty healthy.
Yeah,
because you're not ill.
So I totally disagree with that comment, and
Okay.
I totally disagree with the fact that you believe that, because we've
Okay.
talked about this in the past, and it goes like this: we all know, right at our heart of hearts, right at our deep core, we all know when we're doing wrong. We just know. We know when we're being lazy. We know when we're lying. We know when we're not being righteous. We know when we're not doing good.
Mm-hmm.
We all know. Now, you knew, everyone knows. I know when I'm not doing it right. You knew that you weren't doing it right, but somehow you were lying to yourself for those years. And that's what a lot of people do. But let's not pretend that you didn't know. By saying that I didn't know, and I just found out today that I wasn't actually eating healthy, that's not true. You've known for some time.
Yeah, I think, can I jump in there?
Yeah. What do you got?
It's echoing in the camera.
Having technical difficulties.
Now you're muted, buddy.
Now you're muted. Yeah, there we go.
Now.
Okay, we'll let you play with that for a second.
Don't worry about that too much.
Yeah, it's all good.
Okay.
So what's up?
What I'm suggesting is that if you thought that you were healthy, how did you define that? Like, how did you realize that you're actually healthy?
And this is what I was going to say, was the fact that because I didn't have a definition, or let me rephrase, because I was looking at it as that fact that I wasn't ill meant that I was healthy.
Okay,
right? So it was
now let's talk about your
cognitive
jiu-jitsu.
bias.
When you're performing in jiu-jitsu and you're tired after like 45 minutes, did you not wonder, hey, how can I do this better?
Yeah, see, and in my mind, I did. I was like, man, I need to get better at jiu-jitsu.
Right.
And so it wasn't.
Is that through this practice, or through other things that you could do? Like, I'm just trying to think like what the thought process
Wishful
is.
Thinking. I need to get better. I wish I do. I wish I did. I wish I can. It's wishful thinking without much thought.
How does one get better?
Practice.
Okay.
And see but I was thinking that the jiu-jitsu was specific in and of itself. Right? I wasn't looking at the application of everything else to the jiu-jitsu or the skill level. I was thinking of terms of skill level is how much I practice, what I train.
As a thought experiment, let's pretend you stopped eating for a week and then you went to jiu-jitsu practice. And while you were there, you got tired within 2 minutes. Would you have thought, I just got to get better at jiu-jitsu?
Probably not.
What would you have thought?
Like, I need to eat something.
And so why didn't you think that over the last 10 years?
I did not make the connection because I was eating, right? So it wasn't the fact. I had no concept. I was eating without thinking, and I had no concept that I was under eating to begin with. I was just, I'd go to jiu-jitsu, I'd get tired. And the other thing is I also saw how, as I got better, as I rolled more, as I did more stuff, my cardio level increased, or my capability level within jiu-jitsu increased. So I was able to roll longer. I was able to continue rolling. And there were lots of times in the beginning when I first started that I would, I'd roll for like maybe 45 seconds and I'd be exhausted, just flat out exhausted. I would be like, well, that's because I'm a white belt.
Have you increased the like how you eat since you've started jiu-jitsu, or everything's remained the same?
Everything's remained the same up until about a couple of weeks ago when Shaun asked me what my protein levels were.
I just don't get it.
So can you imagine me? It wasn't quite 2 weeks ago, but almost 2 weeks ago, I was like, is this even happening right now? Is this?
I honestly don't understand.
Dude, I'm still kind of processing it a little bit, you know?
This thing is,
Man, you can be so much better. You can be
That's
so
what
much better.
Literally, I said, dude, you could be Macbeth or you could be Shakespeare right now.
Yeah.
I mean, if you'd
Like,
have been feeding your
honestly,
brain, never mind your body.
like your mental health would be better
stunning.
if you're eating better. Like
For
your mental
sure.
health would like so much better.
Yeah.
And speaking of, you thought you were healthy. You absolutely weren't,
I
because
wasn't. No.
not only were you undercaloried, you were feeding your body straight up rat poison.
Yes.
And when that term skinny fat can be considered as derogatory, but it can also be considered as kind of like medical. And so the amount of fat that you've got on your internal organs right now that you can't see, you know, that brown fat, you probably are on the edge of type 2 diabetes. And I don't know, your body cannot be healthy, man, right now. When's the last time you ran a blood panel? When's the last time you had a full workup?
That would have been about a month ago. I went and saw my doctor, got a medical done.
Like a full medical?
Yeah, full medical, yeah.
And no red flags?
Nothing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you're fortunate, man. Very lucky.
Yeah. That's it. That's it. This is what I've been. So this is where I said, because I haven't been unhealthy and I haven't had any major red flags of like, hey man, you need to sort this out or do these things, because none of that has happened. With the cognitive bias, I'm like, oh, well, since nothing bad is happening, I must be doing well.
Well, I would
You know that you weren't.
I know
You
I'm
can
wrong.
look
I know
around.
I'm
You
wrong.
can, you know the world. I mean, you watch TV. You've seen athletes do things.
Yep.
You know that people can jump over bars. I know you
Mhm.
used to be able to jump over high bars when you're in high school.
Yep.
But you can't now.
Probably not.
And so you made the correlation at some point. One would hope that there's people out there doing incredible things. How come I can't? Did you ever think about that, or
No.
you just thought you were healthy?
I just thought like, and I pictured myself as, you know, like the average human being, is that I'm generally healthy, and if I put effort into any one aspect, I can improve that aspect. But because I was generally healthy, I was trying to focus on other things. So
Yeah,
this
I think
last,
you've been surrounded by pretty much average individuals who are telling you that you could have done
100%.
better.
Yeah, they're
Or
like,
athletes. Like you haven't been around athletes.
no,
So it's
no.
like,
And Shaun asked me
yeah.
2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks ago now. He was like, "What's your protein level? What's your protein intake?" And I was like, "I don't know." I was like, "That's pretty good." That's exactly what I said. It was pretty good. And he was like, "No, what's your actual levels?" I'm like, "I don't know. I have da 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 da." And he's like, "That is horribly under." That's the first interaction I've had with anybody challenging me on my nutrition across the board.
Not even yourself. And
Not even
that's my
myself.
point.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, you're smart. Let's not beat around the bush. It never should have got to this.
100%.
And so there's a reason that it did. And that's what I'm trying to get to the bottom of. Why? Because you're saying that you were thinking that you were healthy, and I don't believe that for a moment.
Mm.
Not at all.
They're probably red flags all over the place, bro. You just didn't want to identify it.
Yeah, for sure.
I think I really believe it was sheer ignorance, because I've seen other people eat really unhealthy and get physically unhealthy, right? I've seen people pick up a lot of weight. I've seen them have difficulties. I've seen them have major disorders that, you know, spring up, like diabetes or things like that, where all of a sudden they have to really change their
Do you ever
the way they eat
do you
or
ever
live.
talk to people that you did to about food, like how they're able to perform well? Like anybody that you train with that is really good,
Like
that
your buddy Rob?
He's ridiculously strong, and he's ridiculously strong because he's been training his whole life. He's also a Muay Thai fighter and a whole bunch of other things.
does he eat?
He
Yeah,
does eat,
I
yes.
think as a human, he also eats.
He does, yeah. And he
Okay.
eats very well. He tracks everything. He's done many fight camps, and he knows the whole deal. But
Dude,
no, I had never
you're
actually
rolling
discussed
with
it
a
with him.
guy
cop-out
who
to say
was
that he's
right
been-
there.
It's kind of a cop out to say he's been an athlete his whole life without even understanding how he's become an athlete and what he's done. Like that's kind of a BS way to respond, man.
It is.
It's like,
for
because
sure.
someone can say to me, "Oh yeah, Sach, you've been training your whole life, this, that, and the other." Well, yeah, but I've had to learn how to eat better and
Yeah.
do things better and move better. So had I not talked or engaged with other people to see how they do things, man, I'd be like not running.
And I'm not saying that I've done it right or in any way, but I honestly, I'm telling you right now, I have never had these conversations with people.
Wow, awesome,
Ever.
good.
So this is all fresh to me. This is all new, and adjusting on the fly.
Dude, send me Rob's Instagram account so that I can ask him to judo throw you for about an hour to slam some sense into you.
Okay, I'm good with it. I get it. That the funny thing is that I get how dismayed you both are, right? And how much of a leap it must seem that I have never put thought into this, but it's true. Like not once.
I am dismayed, and here's why. Because you're better than that. You're not the average person, though you've been acting like an average person. That's just goddamn laziness, as I see it. Pure and simple. Now tell me that it's something else, and I'd love to latch onto that, but I just don't know what else it could be. I mean, if you were a dimwit, I'd understand.
Maybe you didn't think you had the capacity to be an athlete. Maybe you didn't have the self-worth to think you could deserve better or eat better. I don't know.
There is that for sure. Growing up, there was a lot of doubt in general of what I would be capable of, right? Even within the military, lots of times. We talked about this the other day with the pull-up bar, right? I would look at other people doing it and be like, well, man, that's crazy. And then
I'd look at people eating and I'd think, whatever, I don't need to eat.
I
look at them doing chin-ups and I think, I don't need to chin up. They're breathing. I don't need to breathe.
Yeah.
Where does it end?
I'm pretty stoked for you now, though, man, because now you know. There's no doubt whatsoever.
Oh, he doesn't know. He's starting to get an inkling. Knowing looks like this. Go figure out your basal metabolic rate. Okay, I will. This is my basal metabolic rate. That's learning. That's improvising, adapting, and overcoming. We didn't even get to the improvising part.
It's true. Yeah. No, and
I'd be excited if you engaged in your own nutritional journey to some degree, more with a little bit more velocity, a little bit more passion, so that these conversations shouldn't start, end, and then you wait for the next one. The conversation should start, end, and then you continue it in your own research pattern. The moment that these mics stop, you should be spending another 4.5 years learning more about nutrition.
That's the plan. That is the plan. Like I am literally not yet. It's been a couple of weeks, and this is the other part of it is, and it's no excuse by any means. I have dropped the ball as per understanding my metabolic rate for sure. But yeah, there's only so many hours a day.
Sorry, I'll just ask a couple more things. Do your kids play sports?
Yeah. Well, not organized sports other than jiu-jitsu.
Are they active?
Yep.
Do you want them to do the best versions of themselves?
100%.
Then you need to figure this out, bro.
That's where I'm at. Yeah.
Agreed.
I am down for the cause. 100%. I want to learn more. I want to figure out what I'm doing. And I've been trying, at least what I've been telling myself for the last couple of weeks. This is what I've been telling myself is focus on one thing. And once I can sort out that one thing, and once I can actually say that this is not quite static, but like at least established, then I can move on to something else. And so right now I've just been trying to focus on protein. And if I'm like, there's a million things that I want to focus on right now, but I don't want to start and try and change my entire life in an instant, because then I'll just eventually it's just not going to be effective. I want to focus on one thing, get it sorted, and then step onto the next thing and step onto the next thing. That's what I'd like to do.
That will take you forever.
Yes. You're not gonna get nothing done, bro.
Okay.
So here's the thing. I'll write something up for you and give it to you. You start with that and you can start getting after it.
Okay.
Which is funny because you beat me by about 3 seconds, Sach, because I wasn't going to say that I will do it. I ain't, because I don't want to do all the heavy lifting. So Chance Burrows has to do no lifting.
I would rather do lifting.
I'm just saying, Chance Burrows has got to earn, I think at this point, he's got to earn his nutritional path forward. And so what I was going to say is, Chance Burrows, you should go hire a coach. And you know why I was going to say that is because for now, any time that you give someone a whole pile of free information, they'll just gobble it up because it's free. But the moment that you start paying someone $200 a month to be your coach, now you're sitting up, paying attention, and executing on a whole pile of things, not just, I'm just going to focus on one thing for now. You mentioned protein. That's good for now. Dude, the moment that you're paying someone, you're focusing on everything.
Well, I was going to suggest some coaches, but I wasn't sure if he was willing to pay the $200, $300, whatever it's going to cost. But I have a plethora of list of coaches I can send to you that can help you, man.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. But it's less about which coach, and it's more about free information has no value and I'm not going to do my homework versus, oh, I'm now paying for it. I'm freaking doing my homework.
Mm.
And that's just my observation over 15 years. I'm not saying that I got anything figured out other than I've worked with a lot of athletes.
Yeah.
And you're no different than anyone else who gets free information if you're the kind of person who gobbles it up and then just carries on. And I know that you're kind of that right now because you didn't look at your basal metabolic rate.
Well, yeah. I honestly didn't know that there was going to be a test today, so I didn't study.
Dude, life is a test. You're failing.
100%. That's it.
I'll just give you my perspective. So I want to get better at what I'm doing, right?
Yep.
So for me to get better at what I'm doing, I need to figure out a few things, and I can kind of go off of what I already know, but it might not be optimized. So I'm getting my VO2 max check. I'm going to an actual facility. I'm paying the money to get it all done so I can actually create my plan even better. Not super necessary, but I think it's super necessary if I need to get to that next stage. So there's little things, trying to find an extra edge, trying to get better at everything, man. Like not just food, but everything.
Well, the difference between what you're doing right now and what we're talking about as the general approach for most people is you're actively pursuing your betterment, like vigorously, aggressively, paying the price to do it. Whereas not a lot of people will do that. But that's the difference between someone who seeks excellence and someone who's happy with mediocrity. You will pursue and pay the price. You will get stung either financially or sting yourself through output in order to pursue that last 3%, we'll call it. But that's the difference between people who are eternal seekers of excellence and people who are going to be comfortable in mediocrity, or worse yet, ignorance.
Yeah. I was going to say I've never known excellence. And
you have.
Yeah,
you just
sitting right in front of you, Sean Taylor.
No, not me. I mean, there's been people that you've worked with that maybe you just didn't know who were excellent. And the reason you didn't know it because you never got involved with them. And you maybe never got involved with them because you were hanging out in mediocrityville thinking that you were a badass. And they were looking at you thinking like, that dude's mediocre.
Mm-hmm.
And so you had the opportunity maybe to meet a whole pile of awesome people.
True.
But you didn't.
Yeah. Yeah. And I have no doubt about it in the fact that I was mediocre and I did think
I'm not saying that to point the finger at you. What I'm saying is there was a reason.
Yeah.
You were surrounded by excellence at one point, maybe not constantly and maybe not by 100 people, but you had there was people in the service when you were in the service who were freaking excellent. It's just that you didn't get to bang with them, and there's probably a good reason for that.
There definitely is. And I can't.
And I got lucky.
Exact reason, but
I got lucky because I did get to hang out with some excellent people who did make me realize that I got to pick up my socks and pick up the pace and, like Sach, pursue betterment. That's literally one of the ethos of Tier 1 is always seeking excellence, seeking betterment, always wanting more for yourself and the team. That's literally our ethos. And so, I don't know, maybe I got lucky.
Well,
I got introduced to some good people.
That's part of it, right?
But I think a lot of us got lucky. Well, here's the thing. I was lucky 2 years ago, year and a half ago, whatever the time frame was. And I recognized that I had an opportunity to become better and learn a lot of stuff. So I was like, yeah, let's get after it. But as soon as I recognized there was an opportunity to get better, I started getting better.
You did. You took full advantage.
So I think that's, anybody can do that. Like, I mean, you're a perfect example of that, Chance, because like you get to speak to amazing people all the time. So the access to knowledge and excellence is at your fingertips, and you may be taking advantage of some of it, but you're not taking advantage of all of it.
Yeah,
and that's unfortunate.
Yeah, if I was your dad, I'd be wagging my finger at you right now saying, I'm a little disappointed. And you know how that feels. You can ask my boys.
And I actually feel like garbage doing this right now.
I do. I feel terrible. It's not like I'm taking a satisfaction in it or pleasure, or I'm not amused by it. I'm a little dismayed, of course, but I'm not trying to like shine all of the blame on Chance Burles. But I mean, but you got it to some degree.
Yeah,
it's not
no,
like
absolutely.
we're talking about an avatar.
No.
And you, to some degree, represent a whole swath of humanity. So it's not like I'm saying Chance is the devil. I'm saying that y'all are for not knowing how to spell nutrition. So I don't know how to do this conversation without making you feel uncomfortable, and without me feeling uncomfortable, and without Sach feeling uncomfortable. But it's an uncomfortable conversation. But it's a conversation that has to happen,
100%.
not just for Chance Burles, but for everyone to sit and think about things a little bit more, I believe.
And the more I think about the kind of journey I'm on right now, I went on a run this morning with another buddy of mine, and it's like it's just it's a constant effort, man. Like it's like nonstop.
It is
every single day thinking about how to do whatever I'm doing better. And it's
what's a test? As Chance Burles says, it's not a test, but it is a test. Every minute is a test.
You guys are right, 100%. And I'm happy to be the the example, the gold standard of what not to do. But that's really it. All it is basically it's laziness. It's the fact that I didn't know and I never took the time to learn.
And I think a lot of people want to be tier one or want to be all these badass things and stuff. But you know what the reality is, what I've recognized, no one wants to put in the work to do it.
100%.
They want to sound sexy and all the kind of, I want to be cool, but I don't know, man. Like it's a lot of work, man.
It's a lot of work.
And people, like people might see a lot of like I'm on the news or whatever, but man, I'm grinding all the time, every single day, nonstop, trying to figure out how to speak better. Like 2 years ago, I wasn't able to speak.
And dude, but you are, and that's the thing. Like your growth, as I see it, you took full advantage of the assets that you had about 1.5 years ago, and I mean, you have ferociously pursued, and it's got you to where you are right now. Chance Burles is now pursuing. I wouldn't go so far as to say ferociously, but is pursuing. And I guess the takeaway from this is freaking turn that rotary dial up, Chance Burles.
Let's go.
To the dial level that Sach, have got it dialed up to. A freaking 11. Constantly testing ourselves, as I see it anyway.
Yeah, I've said this before, and this is a total cop-out. So beforehand, I just want everybody to know that this is a cop-out.
Dude, I hate the fact that I'm making you feel like you've got to like not apologize, but I don't want to make you feel bad, man. No, I don't. I honestly don't.
I get it. What I want to try and bring forward here is, again, I want to bring value to the collective, right? And if I am a avatar for the average society member, right, the average Canadian walking around thinking that like, oh yeah, no, I'm pretty good. I've said this before. I was always capable, right? If someone asked me to do something physical, cool, I would do it. If somebody asked me to do whatever, I need your help moving this, I need your help doing these things, with the average movement of life within itself, I was capable. And because I was capable, not only did it allow me to get complacent with it, but it, as Shaun said last time, it reinforced it over and over and over again. You're capable. You're physically capable. You're stronger than most people. You can do these things. You can blah, blah, blah. It allowed me to get complacent with everything else.
By it, you mean you, not
Me.
it.
Yes.
It's
Yeah,
not you.
I
You are
allowed
you.
myself to get
Right.
complacent, and then I reinforced it by being capable. And that is the cop out, right? That is the thing that I have told myself over the years, is that I'm capable.
Capable
I'm
of
not.
meeting the minimum standard,
That's
which has
exactly
got
it.
nothing to do with
You know
the
what?
standard, which has got nothing to do with leadership by example as to what the standard is. And so
Exactly.
it's literally bare existence.
Yeah, I was on the run this morning. I was talking to Buddy and was talking about consistency of effort, right? And over a 10 or 15-year period. And the reality is that, if we look at from a physical perspective, I mean, you can create an Olympic athlete in about 10 to 15 years.
Yeah.
Like you can. I think a lot of people don't think they can be like that because they don't want to put the consistency of effort, what's required to become that. But in reality, Chance, in 10 to 15 years, you get after it the way you can be a phenomenal athlete, like amazing. Because with that kind of effort, it's only inevitable for that to happen.
It is.
After 10 years, you become a black belt.
Yeah.
Right?
Whatever
Like
the outcome that you want, put 10 years to it. But it ain't a 10-year thought. It's a 10-year action. That's the massive distinction between I think life is going to be good versus I'm going to crush it and make it good.
And there's a whole nother side of this, which is the barriers of entry, right? And I'm not trying to say there are many, and for me especially, there aren't many barriers of entry in terms of nutrition or physical
There's
fitness
just
or anything
price.
like
I mean, it just comes down to budget in respect to nutrition. And even if you've got no money in your wallet, guess what? There's these entire countries called third world countries where they don't have a lot of money to rub together. And somehow they're getting enough protein through beans and rice, which I believe I mentioned the other day,
You did.
buddy.
Yeah.
And so there's literally no reason that a person can't focus on improving their nutrition. There is zero reason.
You know how many vegetarians are in India? A ton.
Right. One of the fastest, if not the fastest 24-hour solo female racer in Canada is a vegan, Julie Kelly. So,
Like,
there's that.
It doesn't, like, you can get it. Lentils, beans. If you want to put the mindset to it, man, you can find all of it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
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 Right there at your fingertips, called the Googs. And when you're tired of the Googs, you can hit up your friends called Sach and Shaun.
Yeah.
Or Julia. Or, I mean, literally.
Julia's taking on clients, I'm sure.
Right. Literally, you have a Rolodex of people who can square you away.
True.
But you got to do the work. That's the trick.
I'm not afraid of the work. I know how to work. I just got to figure out why. And I know why now. So
there it is. Awesome.
That's good, man.
Let's go.
But these are the stages, right? This is the
freaking go.
I'm okay being the avatar here.
Well, you should be okay. You should be freaking shooting up fireworks saying, thanks, boys. I want to be it. Because in absence of that, you're what?
Just me.
Just you 10 years ago, not thinking.
And full disclosure, Shaun was ripping me a new one a year and a half ago when no one was watching.
That's true.
Like bad.
Yeah.
Hard.
And I took it and I just ran. Literally.
Yeah, that is true.
Right?
I'm good with it.
Yeah. So
and dude, like Chance Burles has never been hit as hard as I've hit you. And so, I mean, I ain't for everyone. I apologize. I've apologized before. I'll apologize today and I'll apologize in the future. I ain't for everyone unless you want change. And then I'll freaking find a way to make it happen. I won't change it. You'll change you.
Yeah.
But I'll facilitate it. And I'll be the guy who pokes a chest or two.
I'm good with it. That's what I need. I've had nobody poking my chest for a very long time.
Poking my true north
I got
tough
another meeting
chest.
to go to, guys. I got to rock and roll. Thanks for jumping me in.
All right, buddy.
My pleasure. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks for the fire support.
Fire support's good.
He was the right guy to bring in. I'm glad that he came in, because if it would have been a number of other people, we would have been placating you You know what I mean? Like, let's just dial it way down and make Chance Burles feel really comfortable in this moment. He was a good fire team partner.
You don't need to make me feel comfortable. I'm good with that. I'm happy to be uncomfortable. We do have a couple comments here. I do want to hit them before we jump away here, but
yeah.
First thing first, shoot like a girl, relentless pursuit of excellence. Kate, I'm watching you. Literally.
It's literally our motto.
Yeah. Shell says also, now I'm going to start referring to Google as the Googs, which
it
you
is
should,
the Googs,
because that's the way it's done. Shane for the cause says, you can do it, Big Bird. You're worth it.
100%.
Appreciate it. Daniel asks a couple of questions here. They're pretty simple, but the concept of protein being the size of your fist for each meal. What's your opinion on that?
No, I don't apply that. What I do apply to is you need a certain amount of protein each day. Get it however you can. And like if you go all day, you get 0 protein. And at the end of the day, you think, wow, I didn't get my 180 grams of protein. You better start getting a whole pile of fists.
It's a good way to do it.
I mean, last night I took in 50 grams of protein in one meal. I mean, I'll take in as much protein as I can in each meal in order to hit my target protein count.
And then he asked top 5 easy sources of protein for you.
Protein powder actually is my number 1, believe it or not, because it is literally the easiest. So protein powder, and then any form of meats, chicken breast, pork, beef, whatever, eggs, definitely. Sometimes a little bit of yogurt, definitely. Things like nuts. I know that nuts have a lot of high fats and stuff, but they've got a lot of good protein in as well. So I don't think you should go anywhere beyond the initial idea of top 5, top 1 protein powder.
Raj, there you go, Daniel. And then last one, Kate says, Big Bird, Precision Nutrition has some great free info on their site. There you go.
That is great advice as well.
I'm gonna hit the Googs. Actually, I'm gonna hit Precision Nutrition, get some info from them specifically, and then
they've been around a long time. I remember when the founders of Precision Nutrition came on the scene, which was plus 20 years ago. And they're actually fairly well known, and they do run a good program. But more importantly, to Kate's point, they've got a lot of good free information over there.
Solid. I think this was one of the challenges is, I mean, we've said this before, is on the interwebs, there's an opinion for everybody, right? And if
there is, but you were lazy because you could have
100%.
figured all that out.
Yeah.
You could have wasted a whole pile of days figuring it out, but eventually you would have figured it out. And that's the thing. No one has to tell you where to go. I don't have to tell anyone where to go. If they want to know, they will go seek. They will go adventure. They will go out into the void and figure it out. Anyone who's intelligent, and all of my friends are intelligent, could have figured this out with enough time, enough conviction.
The conviction, indeed. Yeah.
It has to be a priority, of course.
That's it. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Well, as I prioritize my information intake, as I prioritize my general nutrition so that I can eat healthier across the board, that's going to put me in a position to learn and to build and to grow
some muscles.
Some of those too. I was thinking my knowledge base, but muscles too.
Dude, I've been waiting for it.
Yeah, there we go. Any final thoughts? Anything before we shut her down?
No, I know we went long. And I just want to finish off with this. I am not beating up Chance Burles in this hour. He's beating himself up. 100%. I'm just helping facilitate that.
Yeah, no doubt. All right. With that, we'll see you all tomorrow. Chimo.